Anvil theory, blading, occupy space, and escape. Let's talk about etiquette now.
In this section, we're talking about etiquette. There's a Japanese phrase called ichi jiga banji, and it interprets as one thing shows everything. And etiquette in traditional martial arts is an extremely important aspect of the traditional or classical martial arts that's often overlooked. So some rules of etiquette. Number one, your personal hygiene. Make sure that your uniform is clean, make sure that you are clean, that you're shaved if you don't have a beard, that you've washed your hair. More importantly, your fingernails are trimmed, those sorts of things. Can't tell you how many times I've grappled with someone when you get off of the mat, you've got scrapes and cuts and nicks from their fingernails being too long. I wrestled in high school all 4 years, and I can remember one year, one of the wrestlers had impetigo and he didn't really tell anybody else. And of course, within a week or so, everybody on the team had a staph infection on their skin from this impetigo, which was highly infectious, and the coach had to basically cancel one of our wrestling matches, and they had to sanitize the mats until everybody got better. So personal hygiene, extremely important. Your uniform's appearance, have your belt worn properly. Take the time to press and starch your uniform so that it looks appropriate. The more professional you look, the more professional your bearing is going to be. And again, getting back to that ichi jiga banji, one thing can truly show everything in martial arts. Next is be on time. If you're constantly late for classes, always showing up 5 to 10 minutes late for a tournament or for a seminar or some other event, this idea of being on time and being prompt really shows respect to the hosts and to the dojo and to your teachers. Next is bowing. Make sure that you bow at the appropriate times during class. Typically that will be called for by the instructor, so make sure that you do that. In addition to that, I take the extra steps of making sure that I bow when I go into the dojo and when I leave the dojo. I even do it at tournament sites. When I go into a tournament, I'll bow. When I leave that tournament site, I also bow. Often I'll bow before I go into a competition ring and also leave the competition ring. Making sure you accept decisions as lessons. You never really lose a match. You win the match and or you learn from the match. You never lose. If you're gonna argue with a judge, don't do that. Don't even bother with it, because one thing, again, shows everything. Ichi jiga banji. If you're arguing about this or that and arguing over a point, what really is the value of a point? The point of martial arts is that we set an example for others who are watching us. And again, ichi jiga banji. One thing shows everything. If you didn't get the right call or you don't feel it was the right call, accept it, bow, be respectful, and move on. Next is represent. You're representing the people who came before you. I represent Grandmaster Jun Ri, the father of Taekwondo in the United States. I represent Hanshi Kevin Block. I represent Soke Gozo Shioda. I represent Shihan Dana Abbott. I represent his teacher, Tetsundo Tanabe. So we represent a lot of folks, but most importantly, you represent yourself. So make sure that your uniform's clean, that you're on time, that you're properly respectful, and that you accept the decisions of others, and that you're not argumentative. Next, titles. Use the titles. When we talk about etiquette in martial arts, if someone is a master or grandmaster or even supreme grandmaster, use those titles. If they're a sabum, a teacher, or sabum nim, a senior teacher, use those titles. If it's a Japanese style, it's sensei or shihan or hanshi, shihan dai or enshi, soke, all these different titles. If someone has an honorific that's awarded, make sure that you use that title. I was a colonel in the United States Army, and so my soldiers referred to me as sir and or colonel and nothing else. That's what is appropriate. That's ichi jiga banji. One thing shows everything about your etiquette, your uniform, your cleanliness, your respect, how you represent, and how you act.